going now, eh?
Okay. All right.
SOS Radio 95 years on the road to our snap election, August 19th, the Now Party. I think this is the first time I have this gentleman in front of me. Mr. Buncamper, no stranger to the arena, no stranger to the business, no stranger to SOS Radio, being on many occasions. They call him Bunks too, right? Bunks, good
That's
morning.
right. Morning, Billy. How you doing?
How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Billy. Very excited. 18 more days before election.
Yeah.
And I think, the pressure's on. Everybody's trying to create a good impression. I think what we have to do is create a truth. What are we all about?
A truth.
Yeah, a truth. What are we all about? What are we really bringing to the table? What are we bringing for this country? I think when you line up all the parties beside each other, one party sticks out, the Now.
Correct.
We talk truth. We don't need fiction. We don't need all kind of sweet talk. We're just going to tell you what it is and what we can do and how we can do it.
Bunks, let's go a little bit on you because for many years I had you and your brother confused. You have a brother work at Winnie.
That's my youngest brother, Claude.
You didn't work at Winnie.
Never. My
Yeah.
father worked there,
Okay.
and my brother worked
The
there.
Buncampers come from where?
You will laugh now. We are 8 generations from St. Maarten.
So 8 generations.
8 generations back. The original Buncamper, Vincent, was a slave.
Okay.
He was a slave. And then you get the generation of Richard, who bought, together with another Buncamper, the Backlands, that is from Point Blanche to GB. Then you have the Buncampers. My grandfather was Walter Granville Buncamper, a former governor. His father was Albert Buncamper, the one that Will Johnson wrote the book about a salt picker, a day in the life of a salt picker. That's my family. That's where I come from. We are tied to the Flanders, the Ratcliffes, all of those are...
You're not a stranger.
Oh, absolutely not.
You're pure hardcore St. Martin.
I'm from here, brother. At Dutch French side, the Van Heinegens, all of those families are from the root, the tree root of the Buncampers.
Yeah.
So when people talk, oh, but you ain't from here? But bro, you don't even know where you come from. I know at least where I come from. I know where I come from. And yes, they say, but you're white. How you could be white? That's because of interracial marriages over the years.
Correct.
They went from black to mulatto to eventually white. And my grandfather was a mulatto. My grandmother was a white Sabian. So slowly but surely, it started to lean one direction. My father married a lady from Aruba, which was my mother, Jane Buncamper, the school teacher. That's who I am.
Yeah. You have always, though, how was it growing up? What's your education background, Bunks? You have always held position in government and work hard for St. Martin. What's your educational background?
I started in what we call the Little Chick, down in the alley in town. Down there by Passangrang Alley, the Little Chick there, the sister school. Then I went to St. Joseph School. From St. Joseph School, I went to Milton Peters College when it opened up. So I was first in Backstreet at the last year of the Mulo. Then we went into Mavo in Milton Peters College in 76. Then I went to Aruba, I did the MTS. Then I went to Curacao. I did the University of Curacao, Netherlands Antilles. It was then, and today they call it the University of Curacao. I returned to St. Martin in 1990. I started working with my uncle because I couldn't get a job in government. I was too qualified, they said. 91, I went to GB under the guidance of Julius Lambert. I worked there until 1995 when I joined Elton Jones. He was commissioner of GB and airport. I worked with him, and then Lewis struck. When Lewis struck, my wife asked Sarah that time to form a national government. It was 6-5. It was 5 NA, 5 DP, and the SAP from Julian Rolox. And my wife said, we need a national government. She was advised that time by Marcel and Frank, the deceased Frank Mingo. They said, form a national government because we need that. That's when the Purple Coalition was born. That's how it was born.
Okay.
And
So your wife went into politics before you?
I went in 94. I ran in 94, but I was a rude boy. Used to drink a lot, go up on stage, talk a lot of crazy things. I got 66 votes, and the year after 1995, the DP said, you know what, Bunks? We love you, you're a good soldier, but we need somebody a little more calmer. My wife became the choice, and she was elected into office right away on the first run. Those days, it was based on how you was on the list.
Correct.
She was number 5, and we got 5 seats. So she went in, and her career ran until 2018 was her last election. She didn't get in, so 2020, when elections came again, we went and we thanked France for the opportunities that were given to us, to her. She served with them, worked with them in the faction, the USP, yeah. And while leaving, France said, but Bunks, why you don't run? because you're a grassroots man. I said, boy, France, I gotta think about it. I gotta ask my family. I don't know. I loved the politics behind the scene. I'm very vocal, but it wasn't as if I was in a driver's seat.
Or you wanted a driver's seat?
Yes, I wasn't sure because I loved my job. I have been in public works since
You were
1996.
head of rooming at some point.
Head of
Works.
infrastructure management. What we know as public works, but infrastructure. Not VROM. VROM is a policy department, and then you had new works. That was where Kurt was. You had permits, you had inspection. All of those are also part, and domain. They are all part of the Ministry of VROMI.
Okay.
But
And
I had
still exist today, those...
all of those ministry,
Still
all
there.
of those departments exist within the ministry. They're just simply not manned properly. So the ministry is quite weak.
We know that you went through the USP and then you quit the USP. What happened there, Bungs, that you...
It was a difference of ideology.
Okay.
When I joined, we said we had an agenda, we had a manifesto, we were going one way. And along the way, and it started after the whole laws being implemented on us. That's where the fight actually started. I believe that we should support the laws because we didn't have a bag of money to pay employees from the employers that didn't have no work because of COVID. How are we going to deal with it? So I supported the government with those laws. The only one that voted against it was Emmanuel. Chris voted against it. He said, no, he's supporting that. And my party found that I should vote against it because I'm opposition. And I said, no, I don't operate that way.
Okay.
If it's good for the country,
It's good for
I
the
go
country.
support it.
Correct.
If it's bad for the country, I go object to it, no matter who bring it.
Yeah.
So I supported it. But that's where a little friction started. And at that point in time, that was December, I think this happened, 2020, December. In 2021, around August, we had a discussion about leadership in the party, and they said no. I was deputy leader. I said, look, am I going to get the leadership so I can restructure the party, rebrand the party? Even though I had a court case or investigation on me, I said the party needs rebranding. Eventually, they decided they're going to use a different leader. I questioned it because I was constantly hearing on the road, oh, this is going to be the leader. So I went, I said, what about this? They said, Bunks, we are going to change our approach.
Correct.
We're going to look at the independence. We want to follow the team independence. I said, I cannot support that publicly. We didn't have that in the manifesto. I didn't campaign on it. I don't believe we are ready for independence. Yes, I would love in my lifetime here to see some sort of independence for this country, but we are not even financially independent, more or less being independent as a country. We have nothing. We don't export nothing. We don't make nothing. All we do is depend on the US dollar coming in and the French euro buying on our side because the euro is stronger than the dollar. I said, other than that, we have nothing. Let us not fool ourselves. So that was we parted ways amicably.
Correct.
I met with the board, we shook hands, and we went our ways. And I gave them the time to write a press release, and after that I declared myself independent on the floor of Parliament.
All right. Now we know, Bungs, and before we continue, you could be and you got the right and you can be elected as a candidate.
That is correct.
Let's go through that quick because a
Very-
lot of people
okay.
still in the doubt that...
That I cannot,
that-
yes.
And even some candidates are firing some shot at you saying...
Yeah, but you see, when little children play ball games with me, I always tell them, watch it, don't get beamed with the ball.
Yeah.
Because when you get beamed, it's going to hurt you bad. It's simple. The law, Article 50, sub 2 says, if, while in office, in a term, you are convicted, you will be suspended for the term. It doesn't talk about you're going to be suspended for the rest of your life.
Correct.
It says for the term. The term is defined in the Constitution as 4 years. Not 6, not 8, not 12, 4 years. You see, you got to go from Article 46 in the Constitution right up to Article 50. If they would read the Constitution, that most of those that firing shots swore to uphold the Constitution, but don't even understand the Constitution, Billy. So I had legal review for me. Very carefully, can I take my seat? Billy, the reason I did that is very simple. I am not going to fool people and go on a list and say, vote for me,
Correct.
and I gonna get my seat, knowing I ain't gonna get my seat. If I can't take it, I ain't going there. I'm 61 years old. I don't need to lie.
Correct.
I don't need to lie to nobody. Other people want to make a career now, so they can't debate me one-on-one. That's what they don't want. You hear all them, they're running, but anybody feel good? Sit down on the table with bunks. Let's debate what we bring to the table.
The whole idea, as I keep saying, why would you run if you can't be elected?
Billy, I could have been,
sense.
if Christopher had passed for minister, I would have been the next senator right now. Right now, from January, I'd have gone in.
Yeah.
And there was nothing they're going to stop me. No prosecutor generals were going to send a letter because legally,
Yeah, because your term,
can.
you've been suspended during your term.
And I sat it out.
That's it.
And when the term came to an end, now this is a new term. I am not convicted during this term.
Yeah.
I have a conviction that I'm appealing. But remember, the law was never made that justice can determine who sits in office.
Yes.
Because look at what just happened now to MP Akeem Arundel. So they hold him for 10 days, Bryson walking in as the new MP. Because he going to lose his seat.
Correct.
But come August 19th, if he win his seat, he going to be the new MP again and not Bryson who replaced him. So people got to understand the law.
Yeah.
The law is not difficult. You have to learn, though, that you also have to read the explanatory notes of the law. Because they're there. They didn't write none specially for the parliamentarians. They wrote one for the ministers.
Yeah.
Why is that? A minister is an appointed person. You're appointed. You're not elected. You cannot determine. An elected person cannot hold office. Why would you allow me to go on the list?
Correct.
Why would the Constitution allow me to postulate to then say, oh, he can't hold his seat?
Correct.
That shows you how stupid
Because
you're thinking.
The day of postulation, you have to present your credentials.
Not
If
only
they
that,
can stop you there.
and I said, so I have now postulated. They accepted and approved it a few days later.
Correct.
And you're going to tell me you're going to take my seat? No, you can't take my seat. The Constitution says you can't.
Correct.
But you see, they want to just hold on to a word, a sentence in there, but don't put it in perspective.
Bunks, for the record, I love your tenacity because you are fighting your personal battles.
Oh, yeah.
And you keep telling me you're gonna prove what you're gonna prove.
Yes.
Because you're right.
Yes.
There's nothing against you.
Yes. Listen, Billy, it is in cassation now at Supreme Court.
Yeah. That's the last now.
That's the last. So it's a win or go home.
Correct.
It's two things. I am saying from day one, when a judge makes evidence, you got a problem.
Correct.
None of the other suspects, nor Mr. Lapierre, nor Mr. Flanders, ever testified that they gave me money. The judge said he heard a ghost in the courthouse, said that Flanders gave me money. The judge said that. Everybody objected. All the suspects and both lawyers objected. You know what the judge said? I cannot use what Mr. Flanders said against Mr. Boncampo because they're not tried together. It's 4 separate cases. In the center of my verdict is the statement of Mr. Flanders. That they used against me. I go to appeal. Peggy Ann Brandon lays out a defense out of this world, showing all the formal mishaps and missteps in my case. You know, the appeal court said they need 3 months to make a verdict because it's a very complicated and complex case. After 3 months, they came back with 20 lines. 10 lines stating that the former minister said you were supporting and jumping for joy to give the contract to Flanders, so you must have taken a bribe from them. And the lady
This is
that's...
assumptions.
Thank you. I'm telling you this much written on one charge, this much written on the other charge. So much words and lines. For a case that had over 400 pages of evidence showing we didn't do it. I mean, my wife's case, they tell my wife, oh, she typed something. When Brenda Brooks came, took her laptop, gave it to Peggy, tell Peggy type a letter, and then went to the judge and show, look at this letter. You agree that Peggy just typed it? Yes. Okay, now look at the data. It says that Brenda Brooks did. They showed it in courts. And everybody watching each other now. Because now they don't know where they're going.
Correct.
Because the judge said, no, sir. Proven without a shadow of a doubt that my wife typed the letter. It shows you they had no evidence. But in the Dutch system, it ain't the people's voice or the people's judging you.
Yeah.
It's a human being judging you. And depending on their agenda, you're going to have a problem.
And
I am outspoken. I have I have been so damn outspoken. Remember, Billy, my wife used to be the target. They started with my wife in 2010, implicated me.
Correct.
2018, they started the investigation on the landfill. Why did you wait till May 2020, after I became a senator, to come at me and charge me?
That's the part that we found very, very strange.
Because they don't want me to come out of them. I am very outspoken. Remember when I became a senator in March, the first thing I did was I put a block on the draft criminal procedure law. They wanted to give the public prosecutor's office carte blanche. They were judge and jury. They were going to do everything themselves. And I said, no, 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 no. Lawyers have rights. Judges of instructions have rights. It can't be that the public prosecutor is now the judge of instruction.
Correct.
Then there is no more equal balance.
Correct.
And then 3 years politicas is through the window. Yeah. Because when one organization can decide whom they're going to investigate, when they're going to investigate you, how they're going to investigate you, and they got a bag of money from Holland to do what they want, when they want, how they want, then you get these type of things. Look, vote buying is a serious issue. I agree. So since January, we had elections. You won't come now,
No.
18 days before elections,
In arrest people.
to start arresting and try to manipulate the outcome of the elections. I said it before, I'm going to say it again. I don't want to beat the NA and all them because the prosecutor picking up people. I want to beat them because I got the strength to beat them. I got the public support to beat them. The No is a party to reckon with. Boncamper, definitely. And from today, I can start talking about the Boncamper effect.
Correct.
Because I will have a serious effect on the outcome of this election.
Correct.
And a serious effect on how Parliament of St. Maarten will move forward. The people of St. Maarten deserve a few things. They deserve people with integrity. And they say, but you can't talk about integrity. You in court, you were convicted. Yes, I was. You know why? Because I was to be taken out. When you become a target from justice, you got to be careful. Because they always said, Dutchman don't like to lose. And when he loses, he'll come again. And then he'll come again. Look at Emsley Trump. Emsley Trump won. So they come through the back door now with a deal he financed 15 years ago. Are we serious? You all serious? Is this the way you want to portray? Because remember, they have this common saying. All of us down here are corrupt. It's just a matter of time when we go for you.
Yeah.
Just a matter of time. So how much more are we going to pick up this election? How much more vote? Because there were much more names mentioned in vote buying.
Correct.
I mean, fellas that never ran,
Yeah.
pick up 300-400.
I just wanted us to get out. Your candidate, now let's talk about
Yeah.
the Now Party. You are very solution oriented.
Yes.
I've been following you a lot. You don't just throw the fire, you throw the water to out the fire.
Yes.
What does this election mean for St. Maarten?
A few things. A few things, Billy, we have to look at a few things. I think the most important thing, anybody you ask, what is your first desire? I want money in my pocket. I want more money in my pocket.
Correct. Correct.
And then we're going to talk about GB. We're going to talk about safety in the country. We could talk about education. We could talk about alternative energy.
I want more
but
money
I
in
want
my
more
pocket.
money in my pocket.
How do we do that?
How do you do that? There are two ways you can do it. You can, like how they all put on the billboards, increase the salaries, increase the minimum wage to $2,700. Let's be realistic. If right now you're getting $1,800, you want to go to $2,700, there's a 50% increase in salary. If a business has 10 people working for him, and he has to now go from 1,800, which was 18,000 to 27,000, that means $9,000 extra he has to earn someplace.
Correct.
But you're not fixing the business world. You're just talking about, we're going to give them more money. We're going to raise pension. No, you got to find money. So if you don't have the money to give them, you're going to have to figure out a different way. How do you lower the expenses so that they can get more for their money instead of more in their pocket? Because that's the tricky part.
Yeah.
How do you do
Either
it?
more money or you lower.
Or you lower.
You got
So
two options.
what are the things that hurt people most? Food, utility bills, transportation, telecommunication, and health. Those are 5 things that you use to measure cost of living. So let's go there. What can we do with GB to get more money in the people's pocket? Drop the fuel clause. Drop the cost to make electricity. How do you do that? Now, the now proposed alternative energy and renewable energy, both of them we speak of, because they are two different things. The alternative energy, that is the waste of energy.
Correct.
The renewable energy is when you use solar or you use wind. They are a little different, but they basically replace fossil fuel. I am not talking LNG gas. That is still a fossil fuel.
Correct.
That is somebody's little baby that they want to make some money off. But that's not for me to
We're
discuss.
talking the wind and we're talking waste.
Wind, sorry, right now, solar and waste
And
are the two to go with, because the waste to energy, any Dutch company can come in and help. Any foreign company can come in and help, because the NRPB and the World Bank, they want to find somebody to bring 120 million, when in 2017, to be specific, the Council of Ministers passed a proposal that was prepared by me for Christopher Emmanuel, and the council went with it. The governor held on to it. He said, look, this is a big deal, $70 million, Canadian government covering it. All St. Maarten had to do was give them the garbage and a power purchase agreement from GB.
No money.
Nothing, not a dollar. Those documents are there, Billy. If they think I lying, I am more than willing to produce all the documents. We talking about binders, thick like this. Eric the Vries, sorry, from HBN, was the lawyer. Richard Gibson, Sr., was the Minister of Finance when this was approved. Silveria Jacobs was the Minister of Education when this was approved. Don't pretend today it didn't exist. You approved it in the Council of Ministers. Governor Eugene Holiday held on to it. And the Leona Marlin government didn't go ahead with it. And 10 months later, it was taken off the table. They held it there for 10 months, and after that, they just...
This is a thing that would have been a thing of the past if we had taken up and done with it, and today we wouldn't have the issue we have today, Bunks.
You'd have 10 megawatt running for sure. And you could have expanded it because it runs on, you can put in extra trains, they call it. We could have gone up to 20 megawatt. They tried so many ways to undermine the project. Not because the project was not good, you know, but because who brought the project?
And that was enough.
Emmanuel. When Emmanuel brought it, they started shooting down Emmanuel. His own party was doing it. This was the opposition to it. His own party was doing
was the
it.
National Alliance.
Yes. You know, they did this to him. They did this to St. Maarten. And then you hear them there talking about, oh, he created a dump. No, he never created a dump. Bonkampa was in charge of garbage collection that time. I cleaned up this island. I got the instructions from the EOC, headed by the former Prime Minister, William Allen. So the little boys that they don't know the real story should ask the
So
story.
William Allen was okay to create...
It was a temporary landfill.
Correct.
It was never to stay. Up until when I left Vromi in January 2020, on documents that I have, it was agreed it was going to move. The former Minister Duran came in. He didn't do nothing. He allowed them to decide everything, and the decision was to leave it right here.
Who's criticizing Christopher now?
Naturally. That's normal. If you don't have a track record to run on, what do? Try to blame others. Like the old DP style. Can't convince you and confuse you. That's how it used to be. And I'm saying the difference with the Bonkampa effect is you're going to get the truth from me. You don't need to like it, but I'm going to tell you what it is.
Correct.
If we don't do waste to energy, if we don't do solar, right now, Billy, I am busy and I'm going to reveal it. We are busy with a Dutch consortium. We want to bring solar panels to St. Maarten. We want to figure out how we're going to put them on the roofs of schools, buildings, homes, etc. We want to see how we are going to do directly with them, because government, I can't count on them. I can't count on the NRPB.
Isn't there a code with GB say only GB has the right?
Yeah, well,
is that going to be break?
It has to be broken because GB cannot conform to us daily that they're going to give me electricity. They can't. Right now, again, we load shedding. They said we wasn't going to load shed. This morning, they load shedding again.
You were never in a position really of authority. But did you see this GB thing coming?
Long time. Because you cannot tie the hands of management in GB. Look, listen. Some people mightn't like Jerome Chittick. They mightn't like Erie Sarandel, who were there. They came out of the GB. Veronica was put there afterward in there, but she was not from the GB operations.
Correct.
Those two knew what GB was up against. They worked through Hurricane Irma. They kept GB running, afloat, going. They had asked for a loan to get GB up to par. Those days, they were going to buy another engine. Loan was approved. But the board of directors and government shareholder didn't approve it. So they didn't buy nothing. They just kept going back. And then they had what? 5 managing directors in the span of 2 years, 3 years. But you can't go forward.
Correct.
They destroyed GB systematically. The National Alliance single-handedly destroyed something that was in trouble. Because GB was not, the most brilliant company. No, GB had problems. I agree with you, GB had problems. But today, GB got a totally different problem.
Correct.
Because GB can't even hold 30 million in the bank in their accounts.
Yeah.
But what I found interesting was the statement of the Prime Minister. I believe he said GB has no outstanding debts, qua loans, and all those things. Yet, the outstanding that GB has from its clients, is between 150 and 200 million guilders.
Because you say only 50% of the clients is paying.
Listen to what I'm telling you. The outstanding that they have is between 150 and 200 million.
Correct.
So if you have no outstanding loans and none of those things, if everybody were paying you, what that money was for?
That's it.
Because you are then a huge profit-making organization. And then I need to ask the question, the fuel clause and the production clause, what really going on? Because a lot of people are talking about what fuel clause is and what production cost is. To my knowledge, production cost is everything
Correct.
to produce electricity and distribute it. That's production
That's
cost.
production.
The fuel clause is that simple clause that we add on because fuel fluctuates in the world of today. Today diesel is 2 guilders, tomorrow is 250.
Correct.
Overnight it can change depending if there's a war, whatever. That's when this clause really came in. And people are dumping other costs in that clause, but that's not fair because if GB makes a mistake in their operations, you cannot come and take that from the residents again.
Yeah.
Then for your people, do something, show us that you're taking action.
Bones, I want to remain on this because you're the only candidate that came here and speaking about putting more money in the small man, in the man pocket, or either reducing his bill. You just give a good example of GB. Let's go on other things that you just
So
mentioned.
I told you transportation is another.
Transportation.
I am a firm believer, Billy, that we can invest as government, take money from the NRPB, take the damn money that they say we're going to do that. No. This money that has sat at the bank has created millions, tens of millions in interest. When you got 200-300 million in a bank for 5 years,
Oh,
that
yeah.
make a lot of money, you know.
A lot of money.
So, an electric bus, solar paneled on the roof, costs about $20,000 in China, and another $5,000 to get it here if you put 2 in a container. These buses carry 14 people. It's at 12. Bring in 50 of them. Bring in 50 of them. Call them bus drivers. Listen, we're going to sell that bus. You're going to drive this bus. This is a solar powered bus. Here are going to be all the connection points that you come there, you swipe, and you take the current. That current is generated by solar panels on a roof, put in batteries. You are now running on solar power. You can power up 10 times a day if you want. But normally, with a power charger, within a half an hour, you're fully charged, and you can run for 400, 500 kilometers. That's one. You don't have an engine, so you don't have maintenance. That, I gotta change the spark plug. No, it's an electrical engine. So things are 10 times cheaper. The investment, listen what I told you, the bus costs $20,000, not $40,000 like they're paying now.
It's cheaper than what they're paying now.
Thank you. So let's bring in 50, and this is not to mash up the industry. No, I want the fellas that got the oldest buses, bring those in, give them the solar buses, and let them run their routes. But tell them now, okay, I want you to run Middle Region too. I want you to run Point Blanche too. I want you to run Defiance too. Why? I give you a significant cost savings with a bus like this. So you can do a lot more there. Now let's go to then healthcare. Because that's another one that people hurt.
Very expensive.
30% of this country is not properly insured. 30% is not properly insured. How do you deal with it? Now, I will give the former Minister of ASR props for trying to work on the national health insurance. He calls it the Otley Care. I know he like Obama, so he tried to copy and paste. We don't do that because unfortunately by us is different. It's not an Obamacare, it's not an Otley care, it's a national health insurance where we have to cover all facets, including those that are here but shouldn't be here. Because those people, when they reach the hospital, somebody got to help them.
Somebody gotta help them.
The doctor is not going to turn them back. The doctor has to help them. I think as a great example was the musician.
Yeah.
The musician. They could have said, no, sir, where's his insurance? He got insurance, we ain't taking him. They had to. They have to save his life. They have to treat him. And yes, they're going to have to fight for their money afterwards. But that's a secondary. So that's where the insurance also has to cover. But you have a lot of people that are handicapped and they don't get enough help. Yes, we help them, but not enough. We don't help with all sorts of medication. You don't give, for example, medication for menstruations and all those type of things. These are part of a cycle. You don't give tablets for pregnancy and so. And we have youth pregnancy as a serious issue. These are things we should look at. These are things we have to deal with. In general, health is an expensive something, and we're going to have to agree what level of health can we offer the public because we can afford it as country.
Correct.
We could say, I want first class insurance. That's all nice and well, but if you can't afford it, you won't get it.
Correct.
And we shouldn't be promising things that we
But
cannot give.
this national health insurance, the people would have to pay into it though.
Sure.
You have to pay into this national health insurance. How?
Just like how we pay now.
Yes, but the cost. How are you going to reduce that cost? How is it?
Again, we were sending people abroad for medical help. If our hospital can handle certain degrees of heart, liver, I don't know, brain, whatever it is that we notice, we got a lot of people getting cancer, a lot of people getting diabetes, amputations and all this. Maybe in that field, we want to bring in doctors to work in the new hospital. If you are sending out 50 million guilders every year on patients with their families, etc., and you could bring that down, I know they brought it down significantly, and you bring it down to 5 million, that's a saving of 45 million
Correct.
per year. That's 450 million in 10 years. Do you know what you can do with that? Generating.
But for this, you got to get your hospital going because your hospital ain't going nowhere yet.
I think she got a few more years to build.
But
The
that's
way
what
I
I'm
see
saying.
it.
That's what I'm saying.
So
but you see, these things that you're coming up with, are these far-fetched things, or these things could happen quick?
I think some of them can happen quick. The buses can happen very quick. Affordable homes with using, for example, the ESG fund. That is an environmental social government fund. Climate change money, they call it. In Europe, for example, while we are not an OCT, there's 7 million there for us to use to fix our country. We haven't written a program or project yet. End of this year, that money gone. The government in Holland told the Prime Minister presently, I'll give you a loan for $60 million for GB. But I want solar energy. I want alternative energy. Don't come talk no nonsense to me about you buying diesel engines and you're buying this type of engine. The offer's there. But we didn't take it. We're going to look for a consortium to go buy engines. Then I ask myself, are we serious? Are we really serious? Look, Billy, one of the most important things for anybody to live is clean water and food.
Correct.
We have clean water, but we have no food. We import it every day. So the Now Party said, you know what? Let us create a ministry. And a ministry can take years to create because you have to change the whole organization.
Correct.
But it doesn't mean to say that you can't take a ministry and in that ministry set up a department or under a department's heading, run a ministry of finance, of a ministry of agriculture. I see Minister a while ago just went to St. Kitts and I looked at how it happened in St. Kitts, what happened in Nevis. It can happen here. We got a big lettuce farm right here, up Concordia from the boys them. We can do it. The problem is we have to get away from, oh, we're going to plant the land because those days have passed us. We have built up the land. So we're going to have to find technologies to use to do agriculture in such a way that because we are living in a hurricane belt, we are going to get stronger hurricanes as we go through the years to come because of climate change, that we have to build to protect, not just hope that the hurricane will hit us in the crop.
You know, all that you're saying, Bones, is interesting, but to put money in the small man pocket, you're going to need to have money. Where you getting the money from, though?
Again.
You need money for bus. You need money for where are you going to get money from? Where are you going to produce money?
Not too difficult. Not too difficult. We have going through our economy right now $11 billion.
11
billion.
Is this a
going
fact?
through the banks?
You know,
Yes,
we
it's
don't
going.
say this, but
It's going.
true.
It's going through the bank.
But the 11
This-
billion bonds, is it money, local money that is moving?
No.
Or is it foreign money?
money from all over the place. You know why it's there moving? Because nobody taxing it. We're a tax haven. People just listen. The bank, the money is moving through the central bank. The central bank know the money is there. So if you charge a transaction tax,
That's all.
that's it.
That's it.
0.5%. 0.5% of 11 billion
Correct.
is serious
But
money.
the central bank is not us alone. So
That
how
is-
how do we separate
We
NGO? So
we are taxing that money.
that is going through we.
Yes.
Okay.
11 billion going through we. St. Maarten, not Kyoto. I talking about Kyoto. I talking about we, St. Maarten. 11 billion going through our banks. 0.5% taxation. Do the math, Billy. I mean, 1%
Correct.
alone is $110 million.
Good. So you're telling me that we have that kind of money going through our country,
Yes.
and it is not taxable.
It is taxable. We are not taxing
not
it.
taxing it.
We only doing the
but listen to
1% foreign exchange
But what
tax.
is amazing here? We are the boss of the central bank, you know.
Yes.
So we know this.
Yes.
We see this,
Yes.
and we're not taxing it.
Because we don't want to shake up the ground. We afraid. This is our listen, Billy. I think because you have to always be fair. I think it was Mrs. DeWeaver that brought up this whole transaction tax. She comes out of the financial world.
Correct, correct.
And when she was the Minister of Economic Affairs and they were going to go that direction, and I said, I was in Parliament yet. I said, thank God we have a source of income. And when she stepped down as minister, it is as if suddenly,
It stopped.
well, COVID was still roughing up the markets. People had their attention put differently. But we can make that tax. Again, I keep telling people, if we don't tax everybody in this country their fair share, then you who want money in your pocket will never get it, because the one that got to give government the money to put it in your pocket is ducking. We have a turnover tax, a very unfair progressive tax.
Do you think it's too high?
I think it should change. But remember, turnover tax brings in about 150 million guilders per year into the coffers of the government.
Correct.
So that is 30 million per point. Now you can do a few things. We run a budget of 450 million. So turnover tax is a progressive tax. It keeps taxing. So you can say, okay, listen, how much do I import into St. Maarten? 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 1 billion, 2 billion, 3 billion per year on goods. If I know what I'm importing, I will put a tax on that. Let's say I put a 10% tax on 1 billion, I'm getting 100 million. If I put 10% on 2 billion, I get 200 million. And I start to run my calculation on, okay, if I have an import tax at the harbor and at Juliana with an agreement with the French municipality, because if you all don't have it in Galles Bay and Esperance, proper smoky pipe.
Yeah.
Or we got to shut down the borders and check everything coming in. So the Treaty of Concordia with free movement of goods and people might become shaky. How do we deal with it? So there is a collaboration agreement. Now I know factually that the French government has agreed with St. Maarten on an 8% tax at the ports. Correct. Now, if you would even start with an 8% tax at the ports, you will get under 2 billion, 160 million guilders income. That means the turnover tax can fall away. You can drop the turnover tax.
Correct.
That is a very
Correct.
aggressive tax because it goes from import, a distributor, manufacturer, whoever.
Correct.
So you can change that. Then you have to look at your wage tax. And you said on your wage tax, okay, let me just level off my wage tax. I want to ensure that anybody under 3,500 guilders is not taxed. So I have to make a calculation and figure out how much money am I losing by saying anybody under 3,500 guilders don't pay tax.
You have to make an assessment.
Yes,
before.
you have to do it. And that's why I keep saying some of these things, we made an assessment and we needed about 200 and something million because we wanted to subsidize at this point in time families up to 3,500 guilders. They're saying 2,700 guilders is a livable wage. We disagree with that as of now. We believe it's 3,550 guilders as the SER said it would be.
Correct.
So I want to take that one over a politician's calculations. I don't believe those calculations are correct, seeing the prices we pay for food, electricity, transportation, healthcare, and all those things. So I think we have to look at it a little different, in my humble opinion.
Bones, I want to ask you, with the Caribbean Guild and our community effect, does this make a difference with what the livable wage will be in St. Martin? How do we peg the Caribbean Guild that most likely is going to come in effect?
Yeah, Caribbean Guild is going to be the same like the present Dutch
So
Guild.
nothing is going to change.
All they're changing is the coins and the paper. Nothing else.
That's it. So,
Nothing.
so we could use the same calculation for what we
Yeah,
do
yeah.
in
What-
terms of the
No,
3,500.
yeah. Nothing changing. The money is just changing paper, design, and so nothing else. You
What-
can't easily copy it and falsify it.
You've been there before. You've been a parliamentarian. Has things intensified in terms of what we need to do for St. Martin since you saw what you saw?
I think we need to take the bull by the horns. We have to put partisan politics to the side and say, look, Billy, we all campaigning now. So everybody throwing shots, doing everything. Come the 19th, 15 people are going to get elected. Those 15 will have to come together and say, listen, what can we do for this country? You're going to have a broad-based coalition. You're going to have a 9, a 10-man coalition. What are you going to do? At the end of the day, there should be one synonymous name at the end of the tunnel. St. Martin. Exactly. Anything else, we got to learn to put differences aside and work.
We keep saying this all the time, but it never works.
Because they're not mature. They're not mature. Look, I don't have a problem with no politician personally, you know. I have a problem with their ideology and their behavior, but not with the person. People say, oh, I don't like you. I don't care. I don't care about people. I don't envy nobody. I don't jealous nobody. All I say, when you sit in the seat of a minister or a parliamentarian, you do the best for the country. Not for your friends, not for your family. Don't come with those dumb ideas that you know at the end of the day were never genuine. And say, boy, we failed, you know, we thought. No, you knew it wasn't no good. So why did you do it?
Correct.
That's what I mean.
Correct.
So I think, again, I am not going to close out anybody personally and say, oh, I can't work with you. People will say, oh, you can work with Jorendi? Hey, if I need to work with the devil, I can work with the devil. But at least I know who I'm working with.
Yeah.
I know what it is. I know how to plan and prepare.
But you don't want to work with the devil. You want to work with Jorendi.
Yes, I work with him. I will work with him.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yes,
Because,
yes,
Because
but-
you still say you don't want to work with the devil.
No, people-
You want to work
listen.
with the person.
In politics, you always hear people say, oh, know the devil you're working with. And I tell them, no, know the person you're working with.
Correct.
And that's why I try to keep getting away from it is politics as usual. No, it's not. It cannot be politics as usual anymore
What are you
moving forward.
championing now, Bones? What are you championing now? You personally, that's you. What are you working on? What do you like to see?
I really want to see.
And this is concerning vote for
Yes,
Campbell.
I would love to see the people prosper. In particular, the seniors. The seniors, they can't go back to work no more. They can't enhance their livelihoods anymore. Their pension is set in stone already. And if we don't stop the cost of living going up and the prices getting out of whack, they will be brought into poverty eventually. They work all their lives to have a decent pension, to be able to live.
But do they have a decent pension now?
Some of them. About 3,000 people have a pension.
A decent pension.
A-
What is a decent pension?
3,000 guilders and up.
That's not too
Yes,
bad.
yeah. 3,500 guilders is the livable wage. So if you got 3,500 guilders, you're okay. Now you have a lot of government people in the pension. You have a lot of people. You have 3,000 people from India that have a pension.
Correct.
You have APS with 20-something, 2,200, 2,500 people
But
that have a
these
pension.
people, though, are these people who work directly for government, or are these
No.
the normal people?
Normal people do. Well, government-owned companies.
Because
Look,
I hear people talk about pension for 400 guilders.
no, it's not a pension. That's the AOV. You see,
AOV.
people are talking about AOV as a pension. AOV was never a pension. AOV is a stipend that we give to people in their old age. And that stipend says you have to be here for 50 years. And if you were here for 30 years, we'll do 30 divided by 50 is 0.6, and the total is 1,300, so you'll get 0.6 times
But what do you mean when
1,300.
you say that you have to be here for 50 years?
Because it's a stipend. They say if you're here, and this is where the stipend also goes crazy, because Billy D was on Dutch to Maarten registered for 50 years. You have to be registered over there. You were there, you registered for 50 years. And now you decide to move to Martinique. This is a stipend. You never paid into the AOV fund because you wasn't working maybe.
Correct.
I can still send you money in Martinique. That's how the fund operates right now. So we also have a money flight leaving the AOV fund. These are things that have to be reviewed. Look, people that pay,
You know something
people
that
that pay into the fund have a right to get their money.
You know something that I don't understand? For me, St. Maarten, you guys are treated like strangers in your own country. You got to register. It's as if you got to prove who you are in your country.
Yes.
And the government has to change that. I don't have to prove. You come from where you come from. You prove who you are.
Yeah.
I'm a St. Martiner. Why do I have to register, deregister, prove who I am, live for 30 years? What is this?
It's unfortunately the law.
Yeah, but what law?
It is the census, the
But
way
that-
census
but
works.
Could we change the law, Bonds?
It-
This is why we have legislators now.
Again,
You guys are stranger in your own country.
no, what they're saying is I can't be registered in Curacao, Aruba, St. Maarten, and Holland at the same time, and then when I make 60, I want to pull pension in all 4 countries. You can't do
But
that.
suppose you're working in our countries.
Then for the period that you worked,
Yeah.
you are pensioner. You have a right to pension. Yes, you
Correct.
have that.
Correct.
But that's not the issue. This one here, AOV, you get it if you paid or not.
If you're paid in.
If you paid in or not.
So that is not for discussion because if you didn't pay in, you don't get nothing.
At this point in time, you get. At this point,
Even if you didn't pay in.
you're damn right.
So then that's wrong.
Well, that's unfortunately the problem with that law. That law has to change. That's why I said AOV has to be reviewed, because AOV, we just took it over blindly from the Netherlands Antilles. The same with the sickness insurance.
Yeah.
We took it over blindly. In the past, if you are working, Billy, you pay a premium and you're insured medically. But that doesn't mean say your wife and children are insured medically. You want them insured, you gotta pay a premium. What it did in Curacao in the olden days in the Netherlands Antilles, this thing was becoming a hot potato. Because Shell had closed and all these fellas needed insurance. So they said the whole family insured. Billy, you pay your premium and everybody insured. So what you get an overloaded system medically. You can't afford it. Because at this point in time in the new law, everybody gonna pay. So remember, in the new national health insurance, it is not only the worker paying, he paying for the dependents too. Otherwise, they're not going to be insured. So the law is changing. Not many people are talking about it, but you're going to have to pay for it.
Yeah.
So what they're going to most probably do is drop the height of the medical insurance to be able to afford it so you can pay for everybody. But if you don't pay for it, like they said, within 7 years, SFG is going to be bankrupt.
How possible all that you're talking to us about today, you get elected on the 19th. Could we see something happen in 4 years?
Yes,
Because
I think less than 4 years.
but there's a lot of long-term plan of what you're saying because this is now regulating the system.
Because, Billy, we allowed it to get out of hand totally because nobody wants to take the unpopular decision. Billy, do you pay for garbage on the French side?
Yes, we pay.
We not. You know why? Because, oh God, I'm going to lose votes. No, the law is ready. It's a signature got to be put by a minister for the past 12 years. That law ain't being signed.
Just to pay for garbage?
Just garbage and sewage. We pick it up, we process it, but not a minister who's going to sign to have it happen. If I was a minister, bro, the next time don't elect me.
But it's money for government.
Naturally, 16 million to be very specific. I come out of that world. I wrote those plans. I worked with Amsterdam, the city of Amsterdam, to make these laws.
And people don't mind paying that tax.
I know that, Billy.
Because we have garbage.
But Billy, the French side, when I go down Rancas to go to the landfill, everybody up in arms. That big strike down here, they call it the fellas from Guadeloupe, the Prophet and all them, because they went to the bills out of whack. You have to pay too much money for the trucks to go there. So what the trucks were doing, they were coming to that side.
Yeah.
They come in that side because they too want to live. because it was not regulated. By us, it seems that we just simply afraid. Cruise ship after cruise ship reaching here. And to ensure that you protect the cruise ship industry, we taking the garbage. So the port can get paid, the fellow who transporting it getting paid, but the government who processing it and covering it, he ain't getting $1 in his pocket. But this is how we govern it.
But then this is not...
This can change overnight, Billy.
So this is we have a problem.
Naturally we, because we are afraid of we. We are afraid of we. Bancampa, if you don't want to vote for me because you're afraid they're going to come in there and you're going to feel the Bancampa effect, then don't vote for me. Because if elected...
You're fixing the problem,
Yes, but some people don't like it fixed. Some people don't like it fixed because that's the way to milk the system.
Correct.
Some people don't like it regulated. I am saying, you don't need to like me to vote for me. You need to understand the Bancampa effect. And then you will vote for me. Because if we do it just once, the right way, a lot will change in Samantha.
The benefits come back to all those who don't like you anyhow.
Exactly. All of them have money in their pocket. More money to spend or more value for what they have in their pocket.
Let me ask you a quick bounce. Could the apparatus to run the government of St. Martin, how much is it?
How much is
and
it
could
cost?
the population support the government? Because when we hear figures by you, we hear millions and millions. Could 60,000 people support those millions?
Right now, our government uses approximately 500 million. Let's say 500 million to run the country. Yeah. That's what we
Could 60,000 people pay 500 million?
It depends. It's not 60,000 people paying it. It's also all the visitors that come because the turnover in the industry. Remember, the problem is we are a single pillar economy.
Yeah, but have you ever made an assessment that, okay, I need 500 million.
Yes.
So if I make $1 billion, then I could take this money and quick and fix things in my country.
Yes.
But we don't do that.
Well, the thing is this. You have to look for which avenue are you going on to make the billion. You have to look at which avenue. And the avenue cannot only be taxation of the local man.
That's what I'm saying.
But that's our problem because that's the easiest way out. I know where Billy live. But I don't know where Lady live. So me, where was she? But walk down the road. But she living right beside Billy. And she got a store right beside Billy. But like we blind on one eye when we pass in that store. And the question is why? The question is why? We have so many businesses that don't have a crib number. Nobody walking down the road and going inside, can I see a crib number? No, I don't have it here with me. I have it at home. Go close the door, go home, go get it. I'm going to wait.
But you know the local boy, so you're going for him.
Exactly. You see, that's why they always talk about the brown sack.
Yeah.
You go into certain stores, by the time you reach it, hold on, here.
Brown sack.
This is crazy. And they're going to say,
so Bronx, then the country have corruption.
We always had it. I will never say it's not so. There's no country in the world that doesn't have corruption, Billy. The difference is we like to promote certain things. And I'm saying the government officials have to be strict. Do we have problems? Yes. Do people look for the easy way out? Yes. And does that sometimes mean give them a brown bag to keep them quiet and don't come harass my business? Don't shut me down at 2 o'clock when my license says 1 o'clock? Yes, we have that. Yes, we have that. But again, Billy, to say that all civil servants and all government officials are corrupt? No, I don't agree with that. No. I don't. Do we have some bad eggs? Yes, we do. We have some bad apples. I was accused of taking a bribe that I never took. But again, it doesn't change the image that we, over the years, we always we started with Claude, and then we went down the road, then we grabbed William, then we grabbed Theo. Only God knows who's next. Yeah. Which other big leader they come from?
We just did again 18 days before election.
Yeah. I mean, the arrest them when they went after the USP leader, it was what, 10 days, 12 days before elections?
Correct.
And he lost the election. So you want to regulate elections, you start picking up people.
Who doing this?
Well, they said this time it was the land secession, but I think the land secession was fully supplemented by the TBO because the TBO handles these type of cases.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but you're saying something to Bunks, we need to do the right thing.
Yes.
We got to get back to doing the right thing.
Billy, I sincerely believe that we have the ability, We have the capability among our own people to do a lot of things. We might need some help to write some legislation. I'm sure we might need. But again, we don't need outsiders to come and do it for us. We have the ability to do a lot for ourselves. We have to start trusting our own people. We have a policy in Samantha that we will rip you down to the ground to make you the biggest criminal. And then after the election, well, let me work together now.
Yeah.
You know, listen, if you take me asunder, you drag me through the mud, you drag my family through the mud, you cannot expect in your right mind
I can work with you.
that I can work with you.
That's-
This is the
that's-
problem that
yeah.
a lot of people don't understand. That's why I tell people, you don't hear me calling names easily. I will deal with what you are saying as your ideology, and I'm going to challenge your ideology, and I'm going to tell you, I don't agree with this, I don't agree with that, I don't agree with that, and I would propose to do it this way.
You've been there. Nobody listened to you, Bungie. And I said this boldly, you're very solution oriented because you always have a counterpart of what you talk about.
Because most of the time they're not interested in the solutions because it wasn't theirs. And that's the biggest problem we have. Billy, if you bring something and you're not in government next year, I can pick it up and run with it if it's good for the country. Why not do it? Why? We talk about continuity in government, but we don't really do it because the minute we get in, boy, we shut on all the things that were going on and we're going to come with our own things.
Yeah.
And that's
You
unfortunate.
chose the no. That was a big surprise for a lot of people that you chose the no. Why did you choose the no?
I think I was convinced that Christopher's love for the country was something that caught my eyes.
Yeah.
Me and Christopher, we have had our ding-dongs.
Oh, for sure.
We have butted head on numerous occasions, but I think his love, his genuine love for the country is unsurpassed.
Yeah.
And I have spoken to a lot
But you
of
took
other people.
bonds.
But that's why I went
love
there.
this country.
Look, Billy, I have 25 years that I have been serving this country as a lion. Never have I asked, so what's in it for me? Because you are serving mankind. You go out of your way to serve the needy, the poor, those in distress, those that are weak. We go out and we serve them. And we do that to see that smile of comfort or satisfaction on their face.
Correct.
We then honestly believe we have made it, we have done what we had to do as a lion. And I think if people in government would only understand the honor it is that is bestowed on you to be a representative of the people, maybe they will act a little different.
Maybe
they'll act a little different.
that's a good analysis, Bong. If they understand what it is.
The honor that
From
is
member
given
of
to them.
parliament to minister,
Yeah.
not even there, to be a civil servant,
Yes.
it's an honor.
We sometimes try to wield power because we got power. But that doesn't make you a leader. That makes you an abuser.
Bones, I'll tell you one thing though. I should believe in you because all the accusation, your son know what you're talking about, that you're not afraid.
No. Billy, I still believe in the justice system of my country, no matter how it has treated me. But like I said, I do believe in God. And I know God will straighten up what needs to be straightened up when the time is right.
Correct.
And I'm sure the time is coming. So I will just wait my time and I will deal with it as it comes.
You're the number two
candidate.
on the Now Party.
That's right.
Bones, we got and you got some. I gotta admit, you got some good reaction. People love your boldness, your braveness.
Thank you.
We still live in a kingdom where the Dutch man feels above us. How do you challenge that?
You have to show him he's not above you. You have to show him you're equal. All of us were born equally. And we take positions in our statuses in our country or our kingdom because we feel that that's our God-given right. And you have to be able to show them. And sometimes, it's not taken off in appreciation. I can remember when Rolando and Grisha and all them with Article 73 started fighting the Dutch with the United Nations Charter,
Correct.
the reactions that came and the aggression from Knops to ram down some things our throat just to cripple us. It shows you who you are dealing with, but it doesn't mean to say that they are above you. You always fight them. You have to learn something with the Dutch. You don't fight them emotionally. They're going to beat you. You fight them on ration. You bring facts and you rub that in their face.
Well, we have brought facts to them already.
Yeah, but we bring it emotionally. We too often fight them emotionally. We think screaming at them and doing this and doing that is going to impress them. No, those fellas are cold turkeys. They have no emotional showing on their face when they get away, unless when they fight each other for a political something.
Yeah. How do you look at the airport today? How do you look at the port? How do you look at these infrastructures that's supposed to bring money for us?
I think the biggest problem we have with both the port and the airport is that the concession that we gave them, we now told them you can use the monies generated there in head tax and departure taxes to pay off your loans that you have. So you're not really sustainable, because if you didn't have the taxes that you are collecting, you would not have been able to run the airport. And we are saying, okay, we have to review that. I think the loans are being paid off, and as the loans are paid off, that money should come back to the coffers of the government. It's a government tax.
Yeah.
It's not an airport. The airport has no authority, nor does the harbor have any authority to tax. The only person that have authority to tax is the government. And the government is telling them, but hold on to that tax and pay off your
So you're
loans.
saying the tax that is at the airport should go back to the government?
Yes.
Because we just saw with the Minister of Theatre said in the airport, you got to pay up the tax that you never pay
Sure,
back to the government.
but listen, from
So
donkey...
why didn't we follow up on these things?
Because we have had people in power that made sweetheart deals with them. Remember when the harbor got themselves in problem with the National Investment Bank loan, and so to buy back shares and all that, airport restructuring, hurricane damage, monies, loans, 50 million from the trust fund gone there that they got to pay back. Remember the airport owned the government 50 million? They own the European Investment Bank 50 million. They got to pay back those loans, but they ain't got the money for that. So they're using the tax, the $60 taxes that they charge people when they leave, or $40, whatever it is. Do $40 times 700,000 people. That's $28 million, you know, every year. The two loans are 100 million. I mean, after 4 years, you're finished.
Yeah.
With a little interest here and there. So where the money be? So why nothing coming? You see, when you put your foot down on them and you say, listen, if you can't do this, you can't run here. You're not competent to run it, because you need that money to justify your management. Then you're not the manager for that location.
Correct.
That's how you have to see it. And then people say, oh, I against them. No, I'm not against them. I'm just telling you how it is.
Correct. Bunks, our next guest just arrived. What's your last word?
When you see Buncamper, you see knowledge, you see ability, you see expertise. I have no place to go. This is my home. I will do what I need to do for this country to ensure that come August 19, we have a new direction, the now direction, a direction that will put more money in your pocket.
And you're the one that is saying what I'm saying. I want to hear somebody tell me, put more money in people's pocket.
Yes, we got to.
That's the guy who's going to vote for you.
Because if you don't do that, we are all going to end up in poverty.
Correct. Correct. Bunks, this is what the people are saying. Give Bunks a shot in Parliament again. This is what they're saying this morning.
I want to thank all of them.